Hey, this is Melisha and welcome to Flipped Coding. This is the place people come after they've been through some online tutorials, but they still need help learning the programming languages and frameworks that go into web development, or you're just looking for a mentor. So, with that being said, let's get into today's topic about testing. So you'll hear a lot of developers have mixed feelings about testing. They'll implement tests a different way, and there's just different methodologies that people use to approach testing. But the important thing is to do it in the first place. So I want to give you 4 reasons why you should write tests first. It will make the business side get a lot more specific with what they actually want. So we all know that when you get into user stories and trying to get the details from the business side, it can get a little messy. So when you write tests first, you have to know every case and scenario that a user will probably go through to begin with. So all of your problems and tasks will be defined at the beginning because you have to in order to write tests. In the long run, this lets you write less code. Now, some people argue, oh, you have to write the code for the test. Whatever. If you write the test the correct way, where you're testing scenarios and not the implementation of your code, in the long run, you'll end up writing less code and it'll be a higher quality kind of code that actually solves the user story. Now, this one is probably my favorite. So when you write tests before you write code, it makes you write code to pass the test. That means you're debugging while you're writing the implementation. That's going to save you so much time later after everything's been merged together and there's been a couple of deploys. You won't remember the exact reason you have a bug, or it'll be a lot harder to track down the root cause of a bug because you have different people's code merged together. But when you have your tests written first, that means any code that gets merged, any updates you make, anything that changes your code base runs through this test. So that will save you and the development team a lot of time trying to figure out, oh, where did this bug come from? What part of the code was this introduced in? And blah, blah, blah. Tests help save you that headache. Now, this is a fun one. So after you've been doing this for a while, odds are likely that somebody's going to say, hey, your code doesn't work, or hey, your merge was bad, or something along those lines. When you have tests written first and they're in place, you have a concrete way of backing up your word. So when somebody says, hey, this change didn't work, you can be like, hey, it passed the test, so it really did. Or somebody might say, hey, this code wasn't included with the latest merge or something. And you can say, oh, that's because so-and-so turned off the tests that I had written for this application. Tests are kind of like your contract with the code. It says as long as you write good code, it will pass. That means if anything else happens, it's not you, it's probably something somebody else did. So just to make sure we wrap up why you want to write tests and just the general importance of them, always make time to write tests if you can, because it's just going to save you a lot of work in the long term and you'll learn how to write more efficient code from the beginning. Another thing, people are like, oh, well, I need to pick a certain test suite, or I don't know what to start with. Doesn't matter. Just pick a suite, start using it. And if you find a job that uses a different suite, guess what? You'll learn how to use that one. The important part is just having some kind of working knowledge of how these test suites work, how you write tests with them, and why you write them in the first place. And if you need more help learning about tests, or you want to get started in a test suite but you're not sure what to do, you can come see me at flippedcoding.com. I'll give you that great mentorship, and there's tons of lessons on all of the technical stuff that goes into web development. So I'll see you next time.